pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soft-spoken.
Hey everybody, Jane here, and I brought my little friend because I'm going to be doing a review on the book Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult, and there is a strong bee and honey theme in the book, so I thought that was very appropriate for my little bee friend to join us, at least for the first part of this video. I will be putting the book on the screen up here, but I read it and had to take it back to the library, so I wasn't able to have it as a prop to hold while I tell you about the book. On the surface, the book is a courtroom drama about Olivia, who is a beekeeper. Her son is accused of murdering his girlfriend, Lily, and the book is told from both Lily and Olivia's perspectives. Olivia going forward through the trial of her son, and Lily backwards to give us the information about what actually led up to her murder, her death. I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and I would like to tell you all about why. There will be spoilers, so if you have not read the book and are not wanting to be spoiled, please read the book and then come back and hear what I have to say about it. But before we continue, I would just like to remind you I'm an author, and I just put my most recent book, Hunter, on pre-order on Amazon. So if you are into paranormal romance with cinnamon roll heroes, please grab yourself a copy and enjoy. And now let's talk about Mad Honey. Okay, so this book, I love Jodi Picoult most of the time anyway, because she just hits on such hard-hitting, poignant, wonderful topics. And this book was all the wonderful Jodi Picoult. I will say, sometimes I don't love her endings, and I did feel that way about this book, but we'll get there. So to start off with, Olivia and her son have a really interesting bond. Olivia left an abusive husband when her son was really little because she didn't want him getting abused, and also she didn't want him seeing abuse and thinking it was okay. So she returned to her family home where they were beekeepers, and she takes care of bees and gets honey, and that's how she provides for herself and her son. Her son is in late high school, and he's a football player, and he is dating this girl, Lily. When they get a call, she gets a call that her son has been arrested because Lily was found dead at the bottom of the steps, and her son was there. Her son tells her, I was there because Lily and I hadn't been getting along, and, I went to check on her. She hadn't been feeling well, and I found her at the bottom of the stairs, deceased, and, called called the police because that's what you do. But the police suspect him and Olivia because of him growing up with an abusive father and having an abusive father. She questions, could her son really be a killer? And I love that questioning. I love that as a mother, she was still sitting there going, I don't want to believe my son did this, but I've seen that he has a temper sometimes. It's possible. I didn't think his father could be somebody to abuse me, but he was. And she also found out that her son had been secretly having a talking to his father, meeting up with his father, and having his father in his life, even though she had tried to cut off all ties with the father. So as she learns things like that, she's really upset about it. Additionally, I will say, and I loved this, her brother is a lawyer, and I've seen him in other books. So when he showed up, they talk about some of the other cases her brother's done, and I'm like, oh, I read that book because I've read a lot of Jodi Picoult, love Jodi Picoult. So it was cool to see him as a recurring character, even though he wasn't meaningful to me as like, ooh, I've loved his character in these other books, but it was just cool to see a familiar face and to remember loving the other books that he has been in and the other cases he's defended. So of course he's defending his nephew, and he's telling his sister, hey, it doesn't matter what the truth is. I just have to make the jury reasonably doubt that your son murdered his girlfriend. But of course, the mother wants the truth. She wants to know, did her son do this? And so we're really watching the trial from her perspective and her back and forth of, is my son guilty of this terrible thing? Could he have really done it? Because he seemed to really love Lily, but also, like, obviously they'd had a disagreement recently. They hadn't been speaking, and it was rough. Okay, so now on to Lily. Lily is a trans girl, and we don't find that out until page 200. And I loved that. I was fine with that. The only thing I would say is, if you're not knowing that going into the book, I know not everybody picked up this book wanting to read about the trans experience and the difficulties that Lily faced. And after page 200, we really do see the things that Lily's gone through. She had a lot of abuse by her father, which made her not want to have a relationship with her father. And ultimately, like, the reason that we find out her and her boyfriend have been fighting is because her boyfriend brought her father up to meet with her, and she's like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. He's terrible. He doesn't respect who I am. He's done terrible things. And Lily also had a lot of bullying and abuse from classmates, even though she was in a more open-minded school. And it was really, I loved watching her experience and hearing her experience. And the book is co-written by somebody who is also a trans girl or a trans woman. And so that experience in there is own voices. I don't know how the writing was balanced, Jodi Picoult and the other lady, but it was cool that it was own voices, and that is obviously very meaningful and good that we got that experience from somebody who probably lived it. But, again, if you weren't going into the book knowing that, and I was buddy reading with a friend, and she had no idea that Lily was a trans girl going in. I did. And so I was very aware of like little hints that they dropped in the beginning of the book that I was like, oh, okay, that's what you mean by that. It's like a double meaning, So I enjoyed Lily's story, but I definitely wish that it had been super clear what the book was about for people who may not have been aware of it. Now, my friend is she was fine with it. So we had a really good discussion about it. It just, like I said, I think the book, making sure that people know what it's about, would have helped the right people pick it up. Because I think some people may not have wanted a mystery, but would have been very into Lily's experiences as a reader. And like wanted that sort of book. So just want to throw that out there. I really enjoyed Lily's story, and I didn't mind the back and forth too much. Normally, multiple perspectives and multiple timelines really frustrate me, but in this case, both Lily's story and Olivia's story were interesting, and I wanted to find out what happened, and I think I read Mad Honey in about 2 to 3 days. I will say I was a little disappointed at the end by the reveal of what actually happened. So in the court, the lawyer has the jury convinced, more or less, that this could have been just an accident. Lily wasn't feeling good. Maybe she fell down the stairs. She has potentially, because of some of the medications that she's taking, she could have bled more than she should have bled and been more injured from a simple fall than somebody not on the medications that she was taking. And so the jury lets Olivia's son go, and I thought that was great. I knew we were going to do that, or I wanted us to do that. I felt very confident that Olivia's son was not going to go to jail and that he didn't do it. I wasn't 100% sure he didn't do it, but I was like 95% sure. Um, Especially because Olivia was doubting it. And then Olivia was kind of like, "Oh, it could be, it's probably not, it could be." It was crazy. And of course, the defense or the prosecuting attorney had been like, "Oh, well, he found out that his girlfriend was trans and killed her." And you know, that we find out was absolutely not the case. But I had wondered like if that was still somewhere the motive. Somebody had found out who Lily was, and there was particularly a guy who was like a football player and really, the kind of guy. And I thought he was going to find out and then be like disgusted that he had feelings for Lily. And I thought he was going to be the one, but he was not. It turns out that Lily's boyfriend's best friend was, who was a girl, had a crush on him and got mad because Lily wanted to break up with him. And I was not really expecting it to be her, although my friend, who I buddy read it with, knew it was her right away. So I guess maybe I just missed it, but I was really kind of underwhelmed by it. I didn't love that reveal. I didn't want it to be her. I thought it was kind of dumb that it was her and that she killed Lily over, being in love with. I think the boy's name was Matt, but I'm not 100% sure. But she's in love with this guy. Has been his friend for years. He's not interested in her, and so she kills Lily because of it. So I really just, and there is kind of like an irony at the end of it that's mentioned, that is Lily is killed because she's a girl. And I think it was meant to be poignant or ironic or really hit. And I understood what they were trying to do. I just didn't necessarily find that hit well for me. So it is what it is. It was a fine book. I really enjoyed Jodi Picoult. I was a little underwhelmed by the ending. Loved the conversations about domestic abuse, the conversations about, do we really know our family members, the conversations obviously about the trans experience. So it was a good book, solid 4, just a little underwhelming to me at the end. Didn't really like how things turned out, but overall a good book. All right, guys, that has been my thoughts on Mad Honey. Have you read Mad Honey? If you did, what did you think of it? Did you know the big twist that was revealed, that Lily was a trans girl? And, did that at all alter your experience of reading the book? Tell me all about your thoughts on Mad Honey below. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you. This has been Jane. Bye.